Okay, so we're going to do things a little bit differently today. I've got to be honest, I have been completely overwhelmed with work lately, not only with the YouTube channel, but also with my other job, and of course, taking cats to the vet. It's time to start getting some help with some of the work that needs to be done here in the fish room. I'm actually going to hire this guy to do the water changes in my tanks, because nobody else will help me with them. So I have to pay him to do it. This is CJ, he's going to be doing the work for us today. So I figured it would be a lot of fun to demonstrate or show you the proper way to do water changes in big tanks while I'm also teaching him. And the good thing is, if he has questions on how to do this, he's actually going to be able to refer to the video rather than bugging me every 15 minutes whenever he goes to do these jobs. So we're going to do water changes in both of these tanks today. We're going to maintain a little bit of the filters and all of that. Just kind of show you how I do things on a routine basis on these tanks, and also teach him how to do it so that he can do it and leave me alone. So, are we ready?
Yeah.
Before we get started with it, we've got all hands on deck today. I assembled a whole crew of people to help out. First of all, we have Skylar here is going to be doing all of the shots of me, and then we have Kenzie, who is going to be focusing on CJ. And then, of course, on the main camera, we have Lisa Marie. Everybody knows her. She's going to be recording both of us. So we're going to have some fun here. It's going to be laid back. We're going to have a good time. So sit back and let's do some water changes.
Rena, say hi. Hey, what's up? Hey!
Why aren't you working? You're doing the crooked camera thing too. Why is it going to be crooked?
It's not crooked, it's horizontal.
These kids how to be YouTubers. All right, so we have to get both of these done today. It's probably going to take an hour or so. Which one do you want to do first?
I want to do that one first, because that's sand.
And it's way dirtier than that one. These are actually both very easy, but there's a very specific way that we have to do things so that we don't damage the equipment. The first thing that I want to explain here is what it is that we're doing and why we're doing it. It's not just a process of removing water and putting new water in. The reason why we're doing that is because these fish have been pooping nonstop ever since we did the last water change. So that poop is actually contaminating the water. Imagine swimming around in your own toilet, right? So what we're doing is we're going to remove about half of the water, and then we're going to replace it with clean water. That's going to help to dilute that and make it safer for the fish. That's about as much as you need to know on that. But there is a specific way that it has to be done. First things first. Now, if somebody wants to focus in on these in here, first of all, don't judge me for the way this aquarium looks right now. We've been very busy, and it just looks terrible. But these black things that are sitting down on the bottom down here, these are actually called siphon stoppers. The reason why they're there is if the power completely goes out on these tanks, the water will actually siphon through the hoses and go back down to the filter. It'll do that just because of gravity. If that happens, the entire garage will flood. So those things actually stop that from happening. But the fish keep knocking them off. So if you come in here and you're going to do this job, the very first thing that you need to do is check and make sure that we put those back on before we actually start anything. So grab the ladder and let's go.
Do you get me? Hey, what's up? Hi YouTube, it's, Kenzie here. Hope everyone's having a good day,
We don't call our audience YouTube, and we don't call them guys.
Anyway, so,
Welcome to Gulag.
All right,
yeah.
So CJ, get your butt up here.
You want me to grab
You just grab both of those, and you see the little hose that's
both.
sticking out. All it does is just pushes right on there. Just go ahead and grab them, and I'll show you. Just pull one out, and then. Oh, come on, really? This is happening?
I can't even reach it. Wait, I got it.
Your man put his arm in there.
Nah.
Got it? All right, cool. So this end right here sticks on to that little nipple. I don't know what else to call it. It just jams right on there.
I got you.
There we got it. All right, now get the other one.
I got it.
Today, Junior.
Okay. All right, I got it.
All right, good. All right, now get down. Now what we're going to do is we're going to shut the whole thing down because there's a very specific reason for that. So those little things that you just hooked up there are connected to hoses. Those hoses come from here. You can see them coming out up here.
Yep.
So there's two motors that are in this tank. They're sending water back up to those. So if we start draining water now, the water that's in here is going to go all the way down. The motor's not going to have any water to shoot back up, and it's going to burn the motors out. So absolutely the first thing that you need to do is shut everything down. But I want to explain how this thing works. So you see this thing right here?
Yeah.
Okay. Water is going into that. There's a huge hose that goes down behind the tank. It's right here. So that water is going through that, down here, and into this tub right here. Okay? And it's going through what's called a filter sock. We'll look at that in a minute. After it goes through that, it travels down here and then travels over to here, and these pumps are what sends it back up. Okay?
Yeah.
So this is important to know because when we're done with all of this, we're going to want to fill this up to a certain level before we're actually done, before we start things back up again. So the first thing that we need to do, we have this big power box right here. It's one button, it's red.
Turn it all off.
Everything's off. So now, because those are on there, the water's not going to siphon down here and fill this thing up and flood the whole garage. So grab the siphon hose. That end goes in there, obviously. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. This end is going to go out the garage door. It's very easy to get this siphon started. Put this in here. Let it fill up. Pick it up and let gravity take it. Put it back down in. See that? So you're basically using gravity to get this thing started. Now, with the sand, this is actually kind of tricky. But go ahead, grab that ladder.
Okay.
Because you can't suck the sand up into this. Suck the sand. So what you're going to want to do, you're going to have to actually put your hand down in there, and you're going to want to put this hose, find little areas where there's been some fish poop that's accumulated. Which that looks like it, but yep. So I'm kind of rustling this up and just letting it take it out. But you don't want to do this because it's going to suck all the sand out and send the sand down the driveway. So usually what you're going to want to do is just kind of hover over top of the sand like this, and it'll pick everything up. But it's usually only going to be in certain areas where the poop is going to accumulate. You shouldn't have you shouldn't even have to do this all that much. But if you see poop and it's obvious, then try to suck it up.
Ah!
I can't do it.
Because you need the towel to be wet.
I'm never really good at that.
Yeah, I'm not good at this.
Well, it's the first time you've ever done it.
Yeah, that is true.
Now the good thing is the filtration on this tank is efficient enough where there's never going to be a huge buildup of this waste. So you don't have to go through it as meticulously as I know you're probably going to. That's kind of overkill. So what you can do, what I like to do, is just go through, and it's very hard in both of these tanks because they're both so big, but I like to kind of sift through the sand. Take this, what I like to do, don't put this in the sand because this is what we're going to clean the glass off with, and if there's all sand in it, it's going to scratch the glass all over. So these fish like to move sand all over the place. So you see how there's very little sand there?
Yeah.
I like to just take something and just push the sand around to get it back there, just to make it look nice again. And then when you do that, you might also end up rustling up some more poop that you can then suck up with the siphon hose. But I just like to push it back. They're going to move it again. Next time you go to do this, they're going to move it all again because that's just what they do. And the fish will get out of the way. You don't have to worry about hurting them. I mean, if you hurt my fish, I'm going to have a big problem. But but they should stay out of the way. So now, I mean, that's pretty much done. You don't need to worry about that anymore. So what we want to do is we want to drain the tank down about halfway. So you can see that hose is about halfway down, isn't it?
Yeah.
So when the water gets to there, it's just going to stop. So it's kind of nice. You don't have to worry about, like, if you were to walk away to go get something to eat, this isn't going to drain all the way down. It's going to stop once it gets to the bottom of that. So that's kind of nice. Can't do that when you're filling it back up again because then you'll overflow like your mom did the other day and flooded the whole garage.
I learned from the best.
So this is the best opportunity now that you don't have to do anything with that hose. Now is the best time to clean the glass. And that's what this is for. Do not use this. Not that it's a bad product, but you hear that? You hear that squeaking? That's sand is in that. It's going to scratch the glass all up. So I don't think I really need to explain how to do this to you. So
Yeah, I got it.
go through here and just clean off the algae. Simple.
I don't think I need a lot.
Just be careful with the sand. If you touch the sand with the sponge, it's really not a big deal, but just try to stay away from it. Yeah. It's nice to be able to get others to do my job for me. I like
Do you want to clean the next tank?
I've already done my fair share.
When?
back in the garage.
Yeah, back in the garage. I did all the
We
tanks.
used to have her and Jordan do it.
Yeah, you do it at the fish
You mean one weekend?
Yeah, it might have been once or twice.
Not.
So I make jokes about him taking as long as he's taken, but I actually like this a lot because he's so picky about what he's doing, and that's why I hired him and not one of these other jokers in the house.
Funniest face you can make, go.
You have to zoom in. My hair's busy.
Funny face, go. Dad, make a funny face.
So now that it took you 5 hours to clean all that algae off, next thing is to clean more algae. There's 2 more things that you can do while the water's draining. But the first is going to be cleaning the algae off of the lids using one of these old sponges. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's very, very easy. But the other thing is grab one of those buckets, actually grab both of those buckets, and we're going to take water from the tank here. This one we don't laugh, but we have to suck on it. We're going to put water from the tank in here, and the reason why we're doing this is because this is treated aquarium water. Okay, if we were to take these things that we're getting ready to clean and clean them into the sink, it would actually kill all of what is alive in this water. This is the only maintenance of the filter that I'm going to ask you to do. It's something that should be done pretty much every time you do a water change. If you look in there, you see that thing hanging?
This?
Look. It's right here.
Oh, a little bump.
So what happens is, let me get it out and I'll show you. You have to pull it out real slow because water is going to drain out of it. Okay. So that sits in there like this. So the water comes from that drain through that hose and dumps through here. And this catches a lot of the nastiness before it ever makes it into the filter. So we're just putting it in here and we're squeezing it out. It's as simple as that. Because this thing, after some time, can get clogged up and water doesn't want to flow through it as well. So doing this is going to free it up, get all of that stuff that's caked in there out of it. You can see the water is pretty nice and brown now.
Yeah.
So we're just going to wring it out. Now we're going to take the second bucket and we're going to do the exact same thing.
Is there another one of those over here?
Nope, it's just this one. Now we're going to use this one to just clean it off a little bit more. And this one shouldn't be as dirty because we got most of the nastiness out of there. But there's literally no technique at all. It's just putting it in here, squeezing it out, and then I like to wring it out to get all of the nasty water out of there, and then putting it back in. It's as simple as that. To put this back in, you see those two little brackets that are up there?
Yeah.
It just sits right on top of that. Press the lid back on. Done. Okay. I'm just waiting.
Yeah.
It's the boring part. This is where I'd usually be playing games on my phone. Oh, you're recording me? Now this is a step you cannot forget. It can ruin everything if you don't do that. So absolutely make sure that you're going to do that. And what I would tell you is, before you get started, before we got started here, I was gathering up all of the stuff to do it. You're going to want to do the same thing. Make sure you know where that is. Have all of your hoses, have everything all set out so that you know what you're doing before you get started. Because if you get started and you're filling it up and you can't find the water conditioner, you're going to be pretty upset. So. Ideal time, you would wait until you can actually hear the water flowing down into here, which it actually is. Put your head down there. You can.
Oh, sorry, Mom. Okay, I do hear.
So now it's time to hit that button, turn everything on. The lights are going to be red when you do that. Don't panic.
Oh. It's like mentioned.
Now, if you want to fix the lights, I just push this one. I mean, it's nothing to really worry about, but I think it's that button. Isn't it that button? There we go. All right, so while we're waiting for this tank to fill up, which is the last thing, what I want you to do is recap to me. Tell me how to do this. When you come out to do this next time, And your answer can't be, I'm going to watch the video first. Tell me the process. How do you do this?
Alright, first you gather everything and you bring it over in one spot. Then,
What is everything?
everything, it's this, the blue one, and the little one with the one that fills up the 2 buckets. That's pretty much it. But,
By your feet there.
oh yeah, that. And then you make sure these are in. So when they're in, yeah. And then you come down here.
You don't have to demonstrate, just tell me.
Yeah, you click the red button, make sure everything's off. And then you go through and you start cleaning up the fish poop and whatever's in there that's not good. And then you start draining it halfway. And then you put that stuff in. You put,
What's that stuff called?
Is that when you put it in, or?
when you're filling it up.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure
you drain it. You drain it halfway. Then you take that out. You put the filler upper in. I'm calling it the filler upper.
The filler upper.
You put the filler upper in, and then you stick 5 caps into here. And then
But if we're using a different type,
it could be different amounts.
so you're going to have to,
Measure it.
and you're going to have to
Read it. Read
Read.
the directions.
There you go. I knew you knew it.
And then you let the filler upper fill the rest of the tank until it gets it gets up here, and when you start hearing it, fill this up. You let it get up to the line. You click the red button. And everything turns on, and the fish tank is done.
But you skipped the part where you clean the algae and
Oh
the
yeah,
filter
after
something.
that.
Okay. Yeah, I knew you'd remember. All right, so what have we done to this one? Because this one is different. What have we done to it, and what do we still have to do here?
All right, first we did drain it, but there wasn't that much to clean. But
Didn't we do something before we drained it, though?
I don't know. Oh, we unplugged both of the plugs back there
What are those plugs for?
to make sure the tank's not running.
Okay, right.
And then I took out the sponge in there and I wringed it out and I stuck it back in.
And what kind of water did you use for that?
Aquarium.
Good.
And then we came back in here. We started emptying the tank with the emptier outer. Whatever. I'm gonna try to do another thing. Yeah, we started emptying it. We didn't empty it all the way yet. Well, we didn't empty it halfway. We just this wasn't really meant for a change yet. Then we started filling it up with the filler upper. And then I put 7 caps of the priming the stuff. And then now it's just a waiting game to see how long it takes to fill it up.
And when are we going to know it's full?
When you hear the water going through there. Yeah, when you hear the water going through there, and that's halfway max.
Not halfway max. It's
Yeah.
all the way up to that line. That's when we can plug the motors back in, turn the water off, and the job is done, right?
Yeah.
Very good. That's it. So all that's left then is for you to empty those out,
We're gonna do that
and
now.
then we just got to wait. Okay, so that's pretty much it. That is in a nutshell how we do all of this. It's very, very simple. And I have all the confidence in the world that he's going to do a good job, especially now that I put the whole team together here today to put it all on video so that he has something to reference if he needs to. But you can use it too. If you are doing water changes in your big tanks and you're confused about something, or even if they're in your small tanks, you can always refer to this to understand why we do the things that we do and understand an easy way to do it. One thing that I did not talk about in this is the gift to fish keepers everywhere, which is this mechanism here, the Python water changing system. It is a life-changing thing. So if you don't have one of those, if you've got large tanks or if you've got multiple tanks, this will absolutely change your life. So definitely look into those. I'll put a link in the description for that. You're gonna want one. Trust me. Because
Also known as empty outer.
the empty outer, right, and it is the filler upper. See, that's the cool thing about this device is that it's an empty outer and a filler upper at the same time. So yes, absolutely essential for any fish keeper. If you have one aquarium, if you have a 20-gallon aquarium and that's it, you don't need something like that. But if you've got a bunch of them, it'll change your life, believe me. So anyway, there you go. I hope this helps. I hope you enjoyed it. I would say thank you to the whole team, but there's only one of them out here right now, so thank
You're
you, Skylar. CJ's dumping the buckets, and Kenzie, I think she's napping somewhere. I don't know where she is. But anyway, thank you to them. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to talking to you again next time.